guys, how's it going? I'm Joshua with Think Liberty, and today we're joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Larry Sharpe. Mr. Sharpe is a business consultant and trainer, entrepreneur, former Marine, guest instructor at Yale and Columbia. He ran for the Libertarian vice presidential nomination in 2016 and is currently a member of the Libertarian National Committee. Mr. Sharpe is a native New Yorker and currently running for the governor's seat of New York State in 2018. How you doing today, Mr. Sharpe?
I'm doing great. You caught me on a Sunday, so I'm on my chill clothes today.
Nice. Nothing wrong with that. I am also in my chill clothes.
Nice.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey to the Liberty Movement and how you became such a big part of it?
It's a good question. Not really sure this is a great story. People have heard it 1,000 times. I'm happy to tell it again. I was lost. There's nothing. I was lost. I thought Ralph Nader was the answer because he wasn't the R or a D, and I thought that was the answer, right? He's not one of them, therefore he's the right answer. I actually considered, and I think it was 2000, joining the Green Party just because it wasn't the Dems or Republicans. Now, to be clear, I had no idea what the Green Party stance was at all. My idea or concept of politics was they're bad, therefore Nader must be good. That's about as far as I went, and everything else I just kind of walked around in my own life, didn't really care. By the time 2004 came around, I still didn't care. I was still a Nader supporter. 2008 came, I heard Obama speak, and I thought, oh my God, this is amazing. This guy's different. He's everything. He's our savior. He'll save us. That's what I believed. I voted for him, and then I realized he was just Bush Jr., no difference whatsoever. What was I thinking? Again, I was considering not voting whatsoever. I went from Republican to Democrat, Republican, back and forth. Finally, in 2012, I heard Gary Johnson speak, and I thought, wow, okay, this made sense. But I had been fooled by both Republicans and Democrats in the past. This time when I heard Gary Johnson speak, I wasn't fooled. I actually went to political party meetings. It was the first ones I'd ever been to. I'd never been to a Democrat or Republican meeting in my life. I went to the Libertarian Party meeting. I met libertarians. They were regular people. This is the real deal. I was in. So 2012, I joined the local party. I think I joined Queens first. I live in Queens in New York City, and I work in Manhattan. So I either joined Manhattan first or Queens. I forgot which one. 2012, I joined one of them. Then 2013, I joined the other. I forgot which one that was. I also think I joined the state in 2013 also, and then national in 2014. So by 2014, I was a member of all four, both counties, my state, and my national. They invited me down to the national committee for some reason. I think to help write a check for the new building they bought in Virginia. I went down there, wrote a check. I got a cool foundation member card for writing a check, whatever it was. So it was nice. I enjoyed that. But I really wasn't active in the party. I was the kind of guy who would pay my dues, write my check, show up once in a while, scream libertarian, and I voted L whenever I had a chance. That's the kind of guy I was. Then 2015 came and they invited me, Nick Sarwark invited me to speak in Colorado and help raise money. I did that because for a living, I'm a business consultant. I raise money. I do stuff usually for things like foundations or charities or colleges, but raising money for politicians is similar. So I went there and raised money for them, and people noticed me. Then in 2016, I realized that, wait a minute, this is going to be Clinton and Trump. And when that happened, I thought, we got a shot. So I decided I need to get involved because I knew I was good. I was a good speaker. I knew libertarian concepts and ideas. I've been teaching libertarianism in the business world for, years and years. The idea of buy-in, volunteerism, the idea of, I don't want people to be forced to do what they want to do. I want them to think themselves, create innovation. That's all about buy-in. That's what I teach on a daily basis. So me shifting that to politics was very easy for me to do. So I went to Gary Johnson, who I knew, who I'm not his buddy. I don't think I'm his buddy, but I am his friend. I do know him, right? I do. So every time he came to New York, I stopped by and saw him. I asked him if I should run. I wanted to run for VP. He told me no, that he didn't want me to be the VP, which people laugh when I say that, but it's awesome because Gary Johnson's honest, right? No matter what you say about the guy, you may like him, hate him, anything in between. The man is an honest man. He will tell you where he stands, how he feels. That's who he is. And he was like, Larry, I don't want you to be my vice president. And I was like, okay. So I said, do you still want me to run? I mean, I won't if you tell me. If you tell me to run, I won't run. And he said something that was very enlightening to me. He said, Larry, no, you should run because you will raise the bar. And I thought, you know what? Okay, I'll do that. And it fit with what I wanted to do anyway. The reason why I didn't run for president is because everyone running for president had a higher profile than I had. Right? Austin Peterson had a higher profile. Gary Johnson had a higher profile. John McAfee had a higher profile. Darryl Perry had a higher profile. They all had higher profiles than I had. So if I actually ran, and if I run to win. If I actually won, I would have lowered the profile of the party. Doesn't make any sense. So I figured I'd run for VP so that I could add to the party, right? So whoever was the president, I could add. All good. I lost, obviously. But after that, I still stayed involved. I didn't stop. And the fact that I stayed involved a little bit is the reason why I'm involved a lot. What does that mean? I was traveling around the country. I was doing some business in one of the states outside of New York. And when I was going to another city for business, I called the local Libertarian Party and said, hey, guys, can we have a conversation? Can we have lunch, dinner or something? This is probably in the summer of last year. So I'd already lost the election. I already raised money for them already. So I was doing my own thing. So I meet these guys at like a TGI Fridays or something like that. I forgot where we were. And so we're sitting there talking. And one of the guys says to me, he says, Larry, why are you here? He looked at me like I was kind of crazy. I said, well, the war's not over. I mean, I lost the election, but so what? We still have to keep fighting. We still have to keep moving, right? We're still a team. We're still a family, right? And he said, nobody does that. And when he said nobody does that, I realized somebody has to. And that's when I thought I had to do something. I knew that once the election was over in November, those two guys would go off and do their own thing. We would lose all the momentum. Nobody would be there. So literally I said, I have to do this. So I started to plan already, visiting a bunch of different states for this year and at the end of last year. And to be forward with you, about a week out before the election, I pre-taped my video that said, Libertarians, it's not over. You know, we could do this. Here's the future. Here's what I'm going to do. We can make this happen. I pre-taped it. And I was literally in my living room with my computer open at 2 o'clock in the morning with my finger on a button ready to hit click for when they announced Trump was the victor. It's a true story. If you look at on my Facebook page, if you look at my Facebook page, when that thing went off, it went off middle of the night that morning, November 9th. Click, it went right off. And it said, there you go, guys. It's over, but it's not over. The war is not over. We got to keep going, keep going, keep going. And I think I've been to 9 or 10 states so far this year and last year. And I am pitching that, we need to be together. It's all about the 80-20 rule. We're not finished. We are the last great hope of this nation. Right now, the best vehicle is the Libertarian Party. And that's why I'm still a member. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm fighting a good fight.
Nice. Who would you say, I heard you allude to Gary Johnson, but who would you say has influenced you the most politically?
Influenced me the most politically? You mean, is there like is there someone who I respect tremendously or something like that? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. I mean, is there someone that you kind of take who you are politically from, or is there a philosophy that you like to adhere to?
I think there are 3. One of them, 2 living, 1 dead, 1 politician, 1 non-politician. Dead is Bastiat. I think Bastiat's my favorite. I think he was the clearest and the simplest of all of them. So I like him the most when it comes to dead. Living, politician, and non-politician. Politician, it still is Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson is an instinctive libertarian. He just knows things are wrong. He's the kind of guy who says, that law is not any good, veto. And that's what he did. He's an instinctive libertarian, which I like that concept. I don't think if you asked him often exactly why he's done things, he would actually know. He just gets that that's not the right answer, and he won't do it. He's instinctive. Non-instinctive is probably Robert Ringer. Robert Ringer is an author. He wrote To Be or Not to Be Intimidated and Looking Out for Number One. He's a big Ayn Rander, which I'm not 100% Ayn Rand, but he is. But I think his philosophy is very good for me as a living philosopher. I think those 3, Bastiat, Gary Johnson, and Robert Ringer.
Nice. So you recently announced that you'll be running for governor next year of New York. Mm-hmm. When did you decide that you were going to run for governor in New York?
I actually decided a long time ago. In my head, I decided a long time ago, but I wasn't 100% sure. I probably decided 6 months ago, maybe a month after the election. I knew I had to do something that was going to have impact. I wasn't sure what that was yet, but I had to do something. Part of me thought maybe I should run for a Congress seat or a Senate seat or something like that. But then I realized that in New York, in my state, you have to get 50,000 votes in a gubernatorial election to become an actual party in New York State. That's our rule. Percentage is irrelevant. Statewide, doesn't matter. It's only gubernatorial race and 50,000 votes, period. It's how it works. So I thought that has the most impact in New York State. New York running a statewide campaign with a lot of volunteers would also be powerful. it would show others how to do it. Being top of the ticket, I could promote down ticket, which we have to do at the local level first. That's the critical piece. Most people, when they run for themselves, and you run top of the ticket hoping for the Super Bowl home run, right? The home run, the Hail Mary, right? Now, you know, if Rand Paul just comes over or Ron Paul comes out of retirement, all of a sudden he'll be the president and we'll be magically great. Nope, that's not going to happen. No saviors. I'm about no saviors, but a whole lot of heroes. I want a lot of local heroes. So if I can become top of the ticket, promote down ticket, I will create a bunch of great heroes. They will all begin to win and get better and stronger. Look, I believe in my life. Leadership is not about being awesome. Leadership is about creating more leaders. So I'm going to practice what I preach. And my goal in doing this is to show others and to create more leaders.
Nice. So what do you consider to be the biggest challenges facing you while you're running in a heavily blue state?
Yeah, actually, there's an advantage and disadvantage. The advantage is there aren't enough Republicans for the Republican guy to win. So in reality, voting Republican in New York State is a wasted vote. That's the advantage, right, of being in the blue state. The advantage is it's a wasted vote to vote Republican. So usually third party's wasted vote, right? But it isn't in this case. So what do I mean by that? If I can just get the Democrats, the blue people, right, is to use your term, if I can get the blues to realize their guy's a bad guy, their guy's the wrong answer, then they're going to turn and go someplace else. They're not going to go Republican because right now D's and R's don't have an ideology. What they have is tribalism, which is fine, but I get that, which means the other guy's too evil for me to vote for, so I vote for this guy. Well, if the Democrats won't vote for Cuomo, they won't vote for the Republican. Well, here I am. So I can draw the blues who don't like Cuomo over to me, and I can draw the reds who realize it's a wasted vote to come vote for me. But the key will be several things. Number one is people have to know who I am. So I need to raise money. I need to raise money and an army of people to share, so people in New York State can know who I am. If they don't know who I am, it's not going to work, right? They know who I am. Then they know what I think about, what I stand for, where I'm coming to see them and talk to them. Then when they realize, wait a minute, Cuomo's made an error, Cuomo's bad, Cuomo's this, they might come to me. When I can convince them that the Republican guy is not going to win, they can come to me. Now, how do I know the Republican guy's not going to win? Okay, Cuomo is as weak as he's ever been. As he's ever been. There's still no one on the Republican side running yet. Why aren't they chomping at the bit, trying to get him? I am. Why aren't they? Because they can't get anybody to run. Because whoever runs the sacrificial lamb, they're a martyr. They cannot win. Everyone knows that. I know that. It's obvious. Well, if they all know that, I know that. I want those votes. Their vote is a wasted vote, not mine.
Nice. Many of us inside the libertarian family know your platforms and policies. How will you explain your candidacy to those outside of the umbrella? What is your business pitch?
Yeah, the whole concept is how in the world can we make life better? My pitch isn't about libertarianism because most people have no idea what that is. My pitch isn't even about liberty or freedom. Most people don't know what that is either, right? If you went to some average New Yorker and said, don't you want to be free? They'd say, I'm already free. I go to work, right? And they believe this to be true, right? Or they might say, don't you care about liberty? They'd say, what is this, 1700s? Come on. That's what people say. That's the reality of life. They don't understand those buzzwords that we use. But if I instead said, wouldn't you like things to be better? Wouldn't you like some innovation? Wouldn't you like people to make more small business? Wouldn't you like more people to come to your town and work? Well, yeah, of course. Do you think we get that done by the same policies we've had in the past? Conversation, talk. Don't you think innovation is going to help New York? Yeah, great. When has innovation ever worked by controlling more? Ever? No, not really. Wouldn't it be better if you were open to do what you want? Do you think colleges know better what the business world wants? Or do you think government bureaucrats know better what the business world wants? Well, no, college. Yeah, but they can't right now. In New York State, everything has to go through a bureaucrat. Wow, I didn't know that. Yes, conversations. I'm saying this because this is what's happening now. I'm talking to people now, and they don't know this. They don't know how much control New York State has over colleges, over businesses, over everything. They don't get it when they begin to see that. Wouldn't it be nice if some company would just buy, the train system and make it better? Yeah. No, you can't. The MTA is run by the state. Not even by the city, by the state. So everything that's happening is being crushed here. How many people in upstate versus downstate. People upstate know someone who's got a DUI and now they can't drive, but then they get a second ticket because their license is expired. Now they can't work. Yeah, all these little rules and regulations, what do they wind up becoming? Taxes on the poor, fines on the poor, a tax on the middle class and the poor. Wouldn't it be better if maybe someone would say, hey, how about instead of me taking your license away, I actually, instead of punishing you, I do some justice. How about we turn New York from a punishment state into a justice state? That's what I wanted to do. It's about justice. If I hurt you, I have to pay you back. Not if I hurt you, it is now a crime against the state, and you must now go to jail and ruin your life over it. That's the wrong answer. The second concept here is, for the average person who's non-libertarian, their biggest fear of us is not our policy, is not freedom, it's security. They are worried that without Big Brother, it's going to be Mad Max, it's going to be The Walking Dead, it's the zombie apocalypse. That's their worry. And they've been told that by the two parties for decades. So that's all they've heard. Anarchy means evil. That's crazy. In fact, I don't even use the word anarchy. I often use the phrase volunteer society. A volunteer society is a nicer phrase. Of course it means anarchy, but it's a nicer phrase. It sounds better. Would it be better if more people would volunteer? When you say things like that, ask them questions. You see people start saying, yeah, it would be better. You ask somebody, have you ever gone to a government organization and a government bureaucrat wants to help you and says, I'd love to, but I can't, rules, regulations. Everyone goes, yeah. Have you ever gone to a charity and they say that? Well, no. Yeah, that's right, because charities are volunteers. It's exactly right. Volunteers are the right answer. If a volunteer charity ever says no, guaranteed it's because, well, there's a regulation that stops me. Guaranteed. That's happened in New York City 1,000 times. It happens in upstate New York 1,000 times. There was actually a charity here in New York City paid for by individual rich donors in New York City who wanted to get some of the homeless people off the streets. And they had mobile showers. True story. Mobile showers. Drive by, mobile shower. People could shower, change their clothes, get new clothes. Very tough for someone to get a job when you can't take a shower. You don't do good interview with dirty clothes and you smelling bad, right? So here's your opportunity. Take a shower, change your clothes, go take a check. Feel like a human being. They knew that psychologically, once someone is on the street and homeless for a certain amount of time, the odds of them ever getting off are almost zero because that becomes their ecosystem. That becomes who they are. They don't even mind the smell of dirt anymore. They don't know how to react outside. So getting them to become more human gets them off. Does the government know that? Of course not. It provides a shelter. But do individuals know that? Yes. And they worked on it. New York City shut them down. Parking permits, water permits, all those things shut them down. Can you imagine that? And you know what the answer is now? Nothing. The answer is nothing. So we would rather follow the rules than actually help. There's a problem in this country as a whole, but heavily in my Empire State, but as a whole, and that is the confusion between law and righteousness. So many people think they're the same, particularly in New York City. It's the same. Well, he broke the law. Yeah, but he didn't hurt anybody. But he broke the law, but it was good. But he broke the law. I'm sorry. Law and righteousness mean the same thing to you. You have to break that mindset.
So what would you do inside of your first 100 days as governor in New York?
Almost nothing. I'm being forward. I mean, look, the reality of it is, look, I can win this thing. And when I win, when I'm governor, here's the issue. I'm still going to have a house that hates me. I'm going to have a house that doesn't want to do anything. My job in the first 100 days is bully pulpit. Communicate. That's my job. Communicate. I have to set example. I have to get people to believe it's real. If I should have passed up any bill I put out is dead in arrival. There's no way it's going to work. I'm not fooling myself. 100 days, Larry makes New York free again. That's a fantasy. It's not going to happen. But I can be realistic and say any leader who takes over any organization, and I train this for people all the time, the goal is to not walk in the door and make massive changes. You invite rebellion. You invite failure. 70% of all change in organizations fails. I don't want to be one of those guys. I'm going to come in, bully pulpit, and use what executive powers I can. One of the things I want to start is, what I'm calling at the moment, I may change the name, is the office of the partner. Most executives wait till the last 5 seconds of their term and then pardon everybody, right? No repercussions, all their buddies and cronies. No, I'll be pardoning New Yorkers every month. I'll be finding people who have been wrongly accused. I will have people who will look for that as their job, and I will pardon them. And I will publicly scold the people who did the bad deed in putting people in jail. Publicly scold them. I want New Yorkers to realize two things. One, right now, there is no repercussions for a corrupt, evil, or mean, or bad prosecutor or judge. None. I will change that on a monthly basis. Second, this country was built on the idea that I would rather have a guilty man go free than put innocent people in jail. Liberty was more important than safety. That's gone. I will bring that concept back. Now, does me pardoning 4 people a month make a huge impact in New York State? No. But does me pardoning people and taking that risk, knowing that if I pardon 10 people, at least one's going to go back and do something stupid and come back to jail, guaranteed. That's why people don't do it till they're going to leave, because they don't want repercussions. And I will take those repercussions. I will accept that, and I will model the behavior that I want. A guilty person may go free, but 9 will not be imprisoned. I accept that. That's what we must do. I will set the example. I will show people. And when people see, wait a minute, my cousin came back, and my cousin now can get a job. He can get his life back. You know what? Thank you, Governor Sharpe. Why aren't my local people doing something about that? The second thing I'll do in my going out to a year is I will also use the bully pulpit to help all the local people win. So I'll get more town councils. I'll get more city councils. I'll get more people in my state my state house, in my assembly. Because all I need, 4, 5, 6 people in the state house. That's all I need. That becomes a real voting block. And that's for year 2 or year 3, to be forward with you. You will see legislation change in year 2, 3, and 4. You will see culture change, ideology change in year 1 and 2. Year 2, 3, and 4, now you start to see things change. Why? Because that voting bloc of libertarians, they can now take the ideas from the right, which will then be things like, how can we cut taxes? And then add my crony stuff. Remove the crony stuff, and we will vote for it. We will push your agenda forward if you remove the crony capitalism. When the Democrats come, we want to change this law so that people can be freer. Awesome. But also impose our rules of law. No, get rid of that communism stuff, and we'll vote for it. So we can actually pull out crony capitalism, pull out the socialism, and get bills passed so that the Democrats and Republicans can go back to their constituencies and still quote how awesome they are in the bills they got passed. So they have a reason to vote with us. They can't vote for each other because of tribalism, but they can vote for us because we're not part of that tribe.
Right. So
was that clear?
Yeah, that was absolutely great.
Good.
How do you think your business acumen will translate to success in this election?
It's a good question. And I think as a general rule, I have failed a lot in business. I think that's the advantage for twofold. One of the reasons why both Trump and Obama have struggled so much in their first year and years in the office is they had hubris. They thought, I'm so super smart or so super good, I'm going to walk in and change everything. Because I've fallen from grace more than once, because I've had my ass handed to me, because I failed so much, I've fallen down, I don't think I'm perfect. I know I'm not perfect. I know I'm not amazing. I know I'm just a man. I get that. So I'm not going to go in there thinking, I'm just going to say smart words and everyone will say yes to me. I don't think that. I know that's not true. So with that in mind, I think I can make a practical approach to understanding how to move people. What I do for a living is I move people. It's what I do. It's why I'm pretty good at speaking and saying these things. I move people for a living. It's about sales, marketing, leadership. That's all influence and communication. So I'll use those skills, understanding that I'm not the most amazing guy. I'm not a savior. I'm just a guy. If I can communicate well, I can draw others in and I can make a change. So I think that aspect, the idea is that I failed in business before. The idea is that I know that leadership is about communication, not about being the smartest guy in the room. That leadership is about setting example for others to follow. That it's not about punishment or fear. It's about honor and commitment and respect. Understanding those things, I need people around me to actually want to follow me. And that's the goal.
Nice. So oftentimes LP members and even those outside the party view a loss in a political race as just that, a loss. Mm-hmm. Is winning this race the only success for the movement?
Meaning the New York State race?
Yeah, I mean, is that the only success for the movement, or is there successes that we can get even with a failed race?
It's a great question. Yeah. The first thing is, I want to win. I'm running to win. I have a chance of winning. This is a winnable race. To be forward, I wouldn't run it if it wasn't. I'm not about fighting battles I can't win. Doesn't mean I don't do. If I can't win, I'm not going to run. I'm running to win. So I want to raise money. I have a strategy that I told you about. I know I can make this happen. It is possible. I want to win. I ran for VP because I thought I could win, and I almost did. Otherwise, I wouldn't have run, right? So if I have a chance to win, I'll run. So I can win this. I want to win this. If I win this, this is a home run, a grand slam home run for the party. The party will be on the map overnight. People will see that we can run a state, that we can actually do something, that it doesn't become the Walking Dead, doesn't become the zombie apocalypse because the libertarians in charge, which many of them think that. That will not happen. That is amazing for us. That will allow some. Look, think if I could win in New York State, we could win in New Hampshire, Idaho, South Dakota. Name the state, we can win. We can all of a sudden get people to win in all kinds of states. We can change the way this country works. But if I don't win, my secondary victory would be beating the Republican. If I beat the Republican, that shows it's a Democrat libertarian race. Wow, does that change the game? That becomes something that is noteworthy, media worthy, people talk about. Again, we're on the map, we're serious. If I come that close in New York State, again, we win in South Dakota. We win in Washington State. We can actually win. That's the issue. Now, there's a third piece. What do I do neither? What if I just break 10%? So I do. So I don't do that well, I just break 10%. Still, 10% affects the election. It means we affect the election. Again, that's media worthy. People will talk about it. This is happening. We want people to realize the liberty movement is a big movement. It's an important movement. If you see me talk all the time about talking about down ticket, right? I'm not that aggressive right now, in case you've noticed. Other people are running a bit more aggressive than I am. Why am I not that aggressive? Because I have a slate of 5 people running in New York City this year. I want them to win too. I want them to do well. I need them. This can't just be about me, and that's not just talk. I'm going in August 11th, I'm going to be in North Carolina. Why am I going to be in North Carolina? So I can help North Carolina libertarians raise money, so I can pump their people who are running. I'm not really going there for raise money for me. I'm raising for them because they have to win too. This has to be, as I said, no savior, hundreds of heroes. You've got to make hundreds of heroes. And that's how we grow from the bottom. So I'll be there. So I'm always all over the place trying to make things happen. I'm going upstate New York in another month or so, again, to help local candidates who are running this year. So I don't know if I dodged your question. I think I answered, didn't I? Did I dodge it? Did I answer it?
No, there was no dodging. That was a great question.
Okay, good. All right.
Yeah. So switching the momentum just a little bit, oftentimes you have very intelligent answers to how what is now ran centrally can be privatized. What is your opinion?
That's true.
Well, what is your opinion on investments towards innovation, not immediately connected to incentives, such as government dumping tons of taxpayer money on engineering and developing the first stages of the internet?
Yeah, this goes back to something that a lot of libertarians don't like to hear, and that is culture matters. Culture is important. We win the logic game all the time, but boy, do we lose the culture game. When the world believes, and it does believe this, it believes that without government, we would never have the internet. Now, that's not a fact. We don't know that to be true. We don't. It might have still happened through scientists or through doctors or through insert thing here. It might have still happened. But the idea is since it didn't, therefore, that's the only way it could have happened. So when you look at things like that, it's hard to break the cultural aspect of that. So this has to be a slow grind to shift away from this. If you just tomorrow said, no more, infrastructure, growth from the government, America would fall out of its chair. They couldn't accept that. Oh my God, no way. We're all going to die. That would be what they would think. I like the idea of beginning incentives that are not monetary. And I'm very serious, non-monetary. So something like, and I'm making this up conceptually, the first company that makes a rocket that lands on the moon gets the Medal of Freedom. I made that up, obviously, but whatever. The Medal of Science, whatever, that kind of thing, right? Now, does the Medal of Science cost us much? It does. The taxpayer has to pay a $1.50 to make a little plastic thing that says Medal of Freedom on it, U.S. government. I got it. So we pay $1.50. I'll take the $1.50 out of my tax dollars to pay for the Medal of Freedom. Fine, a Medal of Science, whatever it is. But no tax dollars go into it. There's nothing wrong with the government being a bully pulpit, with the government being a stamp of yay, approval, America loves you, that's fine too. And you might say, well, what person cares about that? Being popular means marketing. Being popular means money. Of course they care about that. You think Tesla or GE or 5 kids that are in college right now wouldn't love to be on the front cover of Time magazine with a Medal of Science on them? Yeah, of course they would. Of course they would. Absolutely. And that cost the taxpayer zero, or relatively zero. Of course, look, don't cry. We'll pay for the medals. It's fine. But I don't have to drop $17 million into X or $10 billion into Y. So I think the answer is, again, it's an idea of the government turning eventually into a non-entity. But it goes first from an enforcer to a facilitator, then to a non-entity. If we shift it right away, the culture simply can't handle it. Too many people think government is the only answer. It's like taking away a kid's safety blanket. And the problem behind that is you might say, well, they need it, they should, it's the right answer. I hear it all the time. But once you do that, you incite fear. Once you incite fear, you are asking for poor decisions. You are asking for bad behavior. What we as libertarians have to realize is the vast majority of times, the government does not take our rights. We voluntarily give them because we are afraid. Most of the time, when the government takes our rights, they didn't fight for it. We said, please save us, government. We're afraid. Here's our rights. 9/11 is the perfect example of that, right? Terrorism is the perfect example of that. But there are others, of course, also, right? Drug dealer is in my town. I'm scared. More law. Government, come save me. So if we decide to do this too fast and encourage fear, it will backfire on us. We will push ourselves into a fascist state. We have to shift first from the concept of enforcer, which is now enforcer, to facilitator, which, hey, how can I be the bully pulpit? How can I give the Medal of Freedom for someone who does it? How can I encourage the private market to step up? But there's a second piece of this too. If you all of a sudden went right to going away, the private market is not culturally ready to step up or physically ready to step up. They're not ready for it. If you all of a sudden said no R&D, no infrastructure, the private sector couldn't step up fast enough. The regulations would crush them. The rules would crush them. No one knows what the rules are. It would be a disaster. I would much rather do it similar to the post office. I bring this up often, right? The post office. What do? We allowed competition. UPS, FedEx, etc. Now, if we tomorrow said, in 6 months, we're going to shut down the post office, no problem. UPS, FedEx, and competitors are prepared to take that over. It'd be seamless. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So if I want to create a new Department of Energy, Department of Education, insert thing here, what I want to start with is competition. Allow the private market to create their own standards, their own rules and regulations that people could follow. Now the private sector sees how it's done, gets it, knows what target markets are. Now they got it. Now I can walk away. Government can now walk away. Government should facilitate its own demise. That's not easy to do, but that's what should happen. If the government can facilitate its own demise, we rock and roll. Was that helpful?
Yeah, absolutely. So hot button issue currently, and I know we talked earlier about it. Maybe it's not at the forefront of your thinking, but what is your position on net neutrality? And is the internet a public good or a network of privately owned PCs?
Yeah, boy, that is a hard one for several reasons. One, it's not a New York City issue, a New York State issue, not a New York City issue. It's like almost a world issue. So it's difficult for me to have a really solid answer on that. There is also a cultural issue, right? People think it should be free. People think it should be. And also a real issue is that if we just let it go, there's no way of making it an equal or fair playing field. So large corporations will take over. And of course, what always happens is if the government does it, there'll be crony capitalism. And they'll say, like, the 5 people who donate to my campaign will be able to have, powers over the internet. So I think it could work. I'm not sure it's an issue we want to tackle right now. I mean, I guess I'm kind of backing off of the issue. But to be forward, there are so many other issues for us to worry about. If I had anything to do with it, I'd just leave it alone for now. I don't think it's the key issue yet. We have to change the mindset of the average American. The average American still believes that the internet is magic and that, the Federal Reserve is a government organization that helps our economy. They still believe these things. They're so far away from what is real. I worry about, and it sounds almost elitist. I know it sounds bad, but I do worry about jumping on something like that. The value of making that change may not be worth the effort it takes to make it.
Right.
It may not be a good ROI.
Awesome. So lately there's been two, maybe we'll call it warring factions of the LP. There's those who want to be audacious with their messaging, such as Arvin Vohra and the likes. And there's those who would like to have a more pragmatic approach, such as Michael Pickens and yourself. How do you intend to unite those factions?
We just won't let this go, will we?
You're the voice of reason, Larry.
Well, let me be reasonable then. I've already said sorry for the things that, I went too far in my emotion, and I know some people got upset about that, and I've said I'm sorry, and I am sorry for that. He said he's sorry, and let's just let it go. I mean, the issue isn't and never has been on the underlying message of the evils of the military-industrial complex, of the total corruption of the mission. Never. The issue has been on the insult and the idea that it's not a free speech issue at all. You are absolutely free and should be able to and are able to call anyone a name that you want to call. But if you are a leader in an organization, you have, and again, voluntary leader in an organization, you have to worry about what you say. And it doesn't matter if it's private or not. You are never off the clock. And people say that, and they're wrong. I've been an officer in a public company twice, and they are wrong. If you're an officer in a public company, you are never off. If you don't like that, don't be an officer. That's a choice you make. Let's say I was an officer on the board of Pepsi, and in a private conversation in a party in my home, I said, parents who drink Coke, they're bad parents, and their kids should be taken from them. Private, in my home, private conversation. If that got out. Now, again, I'm Pepsi. I said it about Coke. I'm Pepsi about Coke. Guaranteed, if that got out, all my board members are going to tell me, Larry, you got to say you're sorry. You have to say you're sorry. Have to. And if I'm savvy, I say I'm sorry. Of course I do. Why? Because we want Coke drinkers to drink Pepsi. Duh, of course. I know that. Otherwise, I shouldn't be on the board. Now, what if I do this instead? I'm not saying sorry. It's private. I can say what I want. It's private. I'm fired. Guaranteed. I'm gone. I can't say no. I'm not saying sorry, and I can't double down and say, oh, not only should they have their kids taken away, but their kids should be shot. Oh my God, are you insane? You can't say that. That is not how it works in reality, and people who think it does don't understand how reality works. If you're going to be an officer in a public company, you're going to be an officer in an entity, you must curb your language regarding their either current customers or prospects. You must. That was my concern. It was a leadership issue. It was poor judgment. It was based upon an individual, not a group at all. To be clear on this, and I need to be forward on this, I've been asked this before. I've been asked from non-libertarians. People often say, well, you guys are all anarchists. You guys all want the world to burn. I hear that all the time. And I said, you got to realize something. If look at the fringes, right? The fringes are the purest of the fringes of the major parties, right? The fringes of the Democrats or the purest Democrats are socialists, right? Or eco-terrorists. When it comes to the fringes of the right, they're either fascists or they're theocrats, right? They run away from them, as they should, because at their core, both of those people, both of those groups want to control you, want to dominate you, and use violence to do so. Who are my core? Who are my fringe? Who are my purists? They're anarchists. They want to live in a cabin and buy stuff with Bitcoin. Why is that a bad thing? That's amazing. That's wonderful. They don't want to hurt you. They want to leave you alone. They want people to be free. Why would I walk away from my core when my core is so amazing? Why would I want to? Of course not. My anarchists are the purity of the party. They are the ones who the party must always face. We should always be marching towards volunteer society, always. And my worry here is, and it's a valid worry, many anarchists, many radicals, many audacious people are concerned. I wouldn't say audacious, scratch audacious. More radicals or anarchists are concerned that as the party grows, their influence will lessen. They're correct. That is a valid fear, a valid worry, and it's true. It's going to happen. As the masses come in, the masses aren't going to be anarchists. They're going to be people who just figured out maybe libertarian's okay, right? And many people want to get rid of all the people who are radicals or anarchists, and that's when they become audacious. Audaciousness came out of fear. Aggression is always rooted in fear. Every time, that's the root of aggression, is fear. So people became audacious because they were afraid. It's a valid fear. But understand something. I'm one guy who says that it's a really bad idea. If we let the anarchists leave the party, this party will become either Republican light or Democrat light, depending upon who comes in. We'll become that. Then why am I here? I've already got Democrat, Republican party. I just go there. If I want this to be a party of freedom, a real party with an ideology, a real party that I can, with a North Star that I can look to, I need anarchists. I need radicals to be in the party. I have to. If they leave, we're just another stamp of something else, where it has been. So yes, I'm a big fan, and I get, by me saying that, I lose supporters in the Libertarian Party. Because there are lots of people in the party who think I'm crazy for it. I get IM'd, text, emails. Why don't you want to get rid of them all? They're worse, whatever. And I go, no, I don't want them. I want them to stay. I need them to stay. So I am not an enemy in any way, shape, or form. If you look at a lot of my views, they're actually pretty radical in many ways. I just say them nicer.
Right.
I just say them nicer. And I don't insult anybody. I never use an insult. But yeah, I just say them nicer. I've talked about getting rid of roads. I've talked about getting rid of DOE. I've got videos on how to do those things. That's pretty radical. There's a lot of libertarians who do not think that that's the right answer.
Right. Well, I can tell you from me, that makes me very happy to hear. And I'm sure there's thousands of other ANCAPs out there and market anarchists who are very happy to hear you say that. I know they like that cleared up. What can the average person, specifically people outside of New York that want to get involved in your campaign and help you with your run for governor, what can they do to help?
I need three things. One of them is the simplest. Share, share, share. If you see something on my page or a supporter's page that you think has any value whatsoever, you like it, you think it's funny, you think it's true, share it. And I don't mean just online. Please online. Please put it on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Please do that. But also tell your friends. Tell them what's happening. Tell them what we're doing. When you're at your church, when you're at your civic group, when you're out in the town, when you're getting drunk with your buddies, when you're smoking your weed, whatever it is, tell them, hey, this guy Larry Sharpe's doing something cool in New York. You should know about it. You should hear about it. Go check him out. So please share, share, share. It really matters. If you happen to know people in New York, literally call them up and tell them, did you know Larry Sharpe's running? I'm very serious. So share a lot. It matters. Second, I need you to volunteer. You can go to my website, LarrySharpe.com, and register to volunteer, or just volunteer. I need your time. What does that mean? Make stuff, do stuff, knock on doors, make memes. I'm not joking. The meme wars are coming too. The Facebook wars are coming. The Twitter wars are coming. They're not. Look, each of those wars is not the big war. It's a small battle. But all those battles matter, right? They all matter. So if you're good on Twitter, if you're good on Facebook, please make those things, create videos, whatever. Please create. That helps me a lot. And lastly, LarrySharpe.com, donate. Whatever you can pledge, please pledge whatever you can. If possible, do a monthly pledge. Monthly pledges work much better. For me, they work better for you. We know it's coming. We can plan better. If it's $10 per month, $100 a month, whatever it is, it's great. But on top of that, you can donate regularly. No worries. Look, the maximum donation in New York State for me is $44,000. I hope you have so much money. You're going, I was going to give 50. All right. If you were going to give 50, don't give 44. All right. If you were going to give 50. So I doubt many people are going to hit the max, but if you've got the money, you hit the max. I'm here for you. I will spend the money wisely. I'm going to spend at least half of it on marketing, at least, if not more. Marketing is everything. And to be clear, I ask you for three things. I ask you for your time. I ask you to share, and I ask you for money. Absolutely. I give it myself. I'm doing it myself. I've put 5 figures of my own money into my campaign. If I'm going to ask you for money, I'll do it myself. I am all about, I will never ask anyone to do something that I wouldn't do. So I'm there. Not just that, I have my Facebook page and I have my YouTube, and I make videos all the time. I make memes. You see them all the time. I'm asking you to do it. I'm doing it. I'm sharing. I'm promoting. I'm doing it. And last, I'm trying to put my business online right now so that by December 1st, I'll be able to be a full-time campaigner, not a part-time, full-time campaigner. I'm going to spend an entire year campaigning every day in New York State. That's the only way I can win. So I'm asking you for time. I'm giving up mine too. Remember, I don't get a salary, right? I'm my own business owner, right? If I'm not out billing, I don't get paid. So I'm asking you to give up time. I'm giving mine up. I'm asking you to give up money. I'm giving mine up. I'm asking you to give up your expertise. I'm giving mine up. This is not about me. It's about us.
Nice. Well, that's all the questions I have for you today, Larry. Do you have any events, websites, anything that you want to promote to the people so they know more about you and more about what you got going on?
Yes, the Facebook page has all my events, has all my goodies on it, has my videos on it. It's Larry Sharpe for New York.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for coming on, and thank you guys for watching. Make sure you check out the website at think-liberty.com. Check out our sponsors at anarchothreads.com, where you can actually pick up Larry's Government is Forced t-shirt at.
Yes, and the Government is Forced t-shirt. By the way, if you pick up the Government is Forced t-shirt, all the profits goes to ballot access in New York State. So I make no money on that. That goes directly to ballot access in New York State.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Larry, for coming on. We look forward to your campaign, and we'll talk with you later.
Have a good one. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm. I was just texting you. So I lost you, and you were right in the middle of saying monthly pledges work better for me.
You lost me during the money? During the money?
Right. So all you have to do is say start, monthly pledges work better for me, work better for you, and then go forward from there, and I'll be able to cut that in.
Okay, good. All right.
Sorry about that.
During the money, you lose me. You lose me during talking about net neutrality. You lost me on that one. All right. Anyway, all right. So